So in the last video, we queried the Bluetooth devices and managed to get information about the GATT services. Now we know that this device I'm trying to connect to does support the glucose GATT service or GATT profile. So I think the next logical step is to try and connect to this device. Now the obvious thing I could do is just use the Windows computer and use the Android phone to actually make the Bluetooth connection, but I want to actually do that in code ideally for a nicer user experience. So that's what we're going to attempt now, so let's just get started. So we'll start by just looking up some documentation on the same Microsoft website again and see what we can find and dig around and figure out how we should connect. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the pairing information in the device and you just call pair, but then it leaves the question, where do we enter the PIN code? So let's just try and dig around Google a bit first and see if we can find something, then just get coding. So in the Discord channel, one of the members mentioned that the reference we currently have in Bluetooth, which I add directly to the file on your machine, this Windows runtime, and this Windows MD, can be referenced in a NuGet package, which is this one, Microsoft Windows SDK contracts. So that's going to be much easier to maintain and allow everybody to use it regardless of, a physical file on a machine. So let's first just see if I can remove this reference we have now to these two files and add a reference to the NuGet package, and let's see if it works. Basically, Windows SDK contracts. Try that one, and hopefully it'll all work. That'll make it much easier to maintain and upgrade, and everybody else to build this. And it builds, which is good. So let's just run the program as it is, see if we still get all the info. Yep, so that's brilliant. That's working, I presume, as expected. Obviously, very little testing, but we can see Bluetooth devices popping in, so that's good. So that's one thing out of the way. Again, because we want to keep the commit small, it seems like a one-liner, but we'll commit this as, moving the Windows, the WinRT references to NuGet. So if we stage that, you can see the differences now. It's removed the two physical files and we just have a nice simple NuGet package. So move WinRT references to a NuGet package. And we'll push that. And now the point of what we want to do here now is try to get the code to connect to the Bluetooth device, the Contour Bluetooth device. So a quick Google, and we come up with the same documentation. All I Googled for was UWP Bluetooth pairing. That took me to this page. I've had a quick read of it, and it looks like this is where we want to go. So I've started, going from there. So basically, this is talking about the same stuff we use, this Windows devices enumeration, the device information that we know about, and that little piece of info we saw in the previous video, the device information.pairing, which I suspected was to pair. This gives you a nice overview. So the first one says about automatic pairing, which basically says you're going to just simply leave the device itself, so in this case the Windows computer, to make the connection to a Bluetooth device. So I could go to my settings and Bluetooth and just connect to devices. And this is basically telling us that we can still use the API at that point to read those devices. We're simply not bothered about the pairing side of it. We are, however, wanting to connect automatically, ideally. So one is a basic pairing. And if you read this, it basically says that you just simply say, try to pair. And all it will do is then tell your computer, in this case, again, Windows, to then initiate the pairing and solve it for you. So it's more like a hint to say, oh, good, I want to connect to that. Now, this is probably enough for us because we could just say, oh, if we find a device that starts with the name Contour and has a glucose API, and then we display that to the user and they click connect, we could simply then pass it off to the system to say, okay, now go and initiate the pairing. But I've also read this custom pairing here, which seems more controlled and powerful, and it basically allows us to take over the pairing request here, this pairing request event, and handle the communication ourselves based on device pairing kinds. So we clicked into that, you can see there's confirm only, confirm pin match, display pin, none. And if we read through these, this is saying the application must display the given pin to the user and ask the user to confirm the pin. That matches the one shown on the target device. With the value of confirm pin, call accept from the arguments. So that's what we have to do. And then display pin, the application must display the pin, must display the given pin to the user. So that's the same up to here, but then it says the user will then need to enter or confirm that pin on the device that's being paired. With a value of display pin, call accept from the event args if you want to be pairing. So it's not, these two aren't exactly very obvious to me what the difference is. And then we've also got provide pin. The application must request a pin from the user, which we're not doing it. We turn on the contour device and it shows a pin. So it's not provide pin, it's one of these two. And the way we'll do that is either it will tell us what type it has, or we'll just try each one until it works. So the plan is to use this custom pairing that basically allows us to, we'll find the contour device, we'll attempt device information.pairing.custom.pair here, I presume. And we'll hook into the pairing request and we'll just see what happens. And it's not like it's required. We could just use basic pairing, or we could just leave the user up to, on the device, just say, please connect to your device. But we want to make it a bit nicer than that. And then unpairing as well, we might as well call unpair. So we'll just get straight into code here and see what we can do. So we go into the watcher. We'll make another function. For now, we will have, I don't know whether we should return anything from this pair. I think we should maybe await and return. I don't know if we want to return a result. This kind of goes into a debate that I'll do further in a video about potentially doing like command and query operations, where if you're doing an action you don't want to return a result, you should simply throw if it fails. But I'm not sure whether I want to throw if a pairing fails. But for now, let's just do, we know we've got to await it, so an async task. We can always change this in the future. And we want to pair to device. And we want the device. Now, we will pass in, I think, what did we say the crucial information was on this now? Let's check the comments. Device ID. And I've also discovered, I watched a video that was on YouTube about Bluetooth Low Energy 5.0 and 5.1. And it actually talks about why I noticed this, even this permanent ID isn't unique, and it's a security feature to prevent hijacking of codes and things like that. So even the unique ID will cycle and generate in Bluetooth LE. I'll share that video in the link. I'll share a link to that video in the description, and I do recommend everybody watch that if they're interested in Bluetooth. It kind of taught me a few things about the difference between these paired and connected and a few other states. So I'll potentially do a video on it so you can, learn from me. But basically this should be unique, and this is unique for what we're concerned with. It's just that this will actually change for the device each time, but we can still use the ID. So we'll use a string device ID, and that's how we will pair. Or this attempts to pair to a Bluetooth LE device by address, by ID. The Bluetooth LE device ID. And then we will throw if this fails, and we can obviously then try and catch it and do something with that after. So it mentions that we have to, let's close that one down a minute. It mentions that we have to use this device information to pair. Well, we had that from the get device information somewhere. Was it this one? So this gets the device information like this, null checks, and then we do something. So this is only one line of code and a null check, so I'm not going to make this its own function. I will simply grab that, paste it into here, get the device information. From Bluetooth address, it's not. It's now from ID. And the device ID, is what we're getting by, and then throw, now we could say argument null exception for the device, which I think makes sense here. And we'll pass in a message, and this is where also embedding strings here, which we'll leave it to do, to localize. We don't want to ever really embed messages into code directly like this. We want to actually abstract these out to localized strings. But we're in the early stages, and I'm not going to cloud all this work with pulling in resources at the minute and loading localization. So I'll put a to-do that we will go back to fix. So the message on this will be failed to get information about the Bluetooth device. Now from here we should be able to do device information dot pairing, as we saw, dot custom, and now we've got these two functions, pair async and pairing request. So if we hook into this and just take a look at what the event delegate is, it's custom pairing and event args. So it's a standard. It's a sender and an event args. So if we just do sender and args, and we hook into this, what can we do? Args dot, so there's that accept a pairing request, accept with password credentials. Got the device information, so that looks like all the information from the actual, what we're already reading here. That's this device information, I presume. Not sure what the point of passing that in is, but it's there anyway. Pairing kind, so this is what I guess we can figure out what to do, and the pin gets the pin associated with a pairing request. So maybe that's when the device sends a pin and we have to confirm it when we do the display. But when we've requested a pin, it might return a pin for us. So what we will do is just see pairing kind. We'll just debug this and see what happens basically. And var pin equals, which I don't expect to be anything. I'm pretty sure that's when we have to request a pin. And then we're not going to bother accepting here because we just want to see what happens. And if we do device dot device information pairing custom pair, and now attempts to pair to the device. Now the thing here is there a way that we know what kind of pairing to do? How are we meant to know this automatically? So I'm wondering whether the device has that information for us anywhere. I don't know whether we've seen it anywhere. Kind, device information kind. So I'll look at what this is, see if it gives us any hints. No, that's the device, like literally device kind, so that's no good for us. ID default kind, name pairing, properties pairing, protection level, paired, can pair. So it doesn't seem like it's going to give us that information. So I'm not entirely sure how we would automatically know which one of these to do. Maybe we don't. Maybe that's the point, that you can't tell from a Bluetooth device. But then again, in Windows, when you click to pair, it kind of knows exactly what to do. But maybe it's doing literally an attempt this, then an attempt of this, then an attempt of this. Maybe that's all it's doing in the background. So given that I believe it is one of these two, confirm pin match, I don't know whether I've misread something here. The application, which is us, must display the given pin to the user and ask the user to confirm that pin matches the one shown on the target device. So we should show, that's not the one then. So we should be displaying a pin to the user and saying, does this match the one on the screen? That's not what we're doing. This one then, the application must display the given pin to the user, which we're also not doing. The user will then need to enter or confirm that pin on the device that is being paired. Oh, hang on, so is the application the other way around? Is the application the contour device? In which case it will display a pin. The user will then need to enter or confirm that pin on the device. With a value of display pin, the call accept from the event args of the pairing event if you want the pairing to complete. If your application cancels a pairing at this point, the device might still pair. This is because the system and the target don't need any confirmation. Okay, so I think it might be this one then. So the application, in this case, it was the contour, must display the pin to the user and ask the user to confirm that pin matches the one shown on the target device. With the confirmed, call accept must be called to complete. So yeah, I think it's confirm pin match. And in which case, if we called that and did as task, and then we awaited that, we can then see what would happen. In here, if we do accept, then where do we enter the pin? There's an overload there. So it looks like we could enter the pin displayed on the contour here, like that. And there's no async. So I think this is what we need to do. So we could do this, and I'm presuming this would fail. But let's just comment this out, because I don't want it jumping and automatically pairing. I want to see this happen. And then we also need to return. We have to await something. Why is that complaining? Oh yeah, the naming violation. Pair to device async. So for now, for simplicity, just to see this, if we go into our console app, we wait in a loop, and when we press enter, it lists all the devices. What we can do at the same time as well is, let's just say, get the result of that, command equals, and we read if string.is null or empty, the command. So if we just press enter, get the discovered devices, and command, in fact, if we do equals that, question mark dot to lower, so it's lowercase input. If then we can just do a command equal, in fact, we should also trim dot to lower dot trim, so there's no white spaces. Now, if we press C and enter, let's try and connect. And in this case, we will just filter by the name of the contour device. So let's just do console dot writeLine connecting to contour device. And then obviously we're not doing anything at the minute, but let's just run this, see if we still display Bluetooth devices when we press enter. And if when we press C and enter, we attempt, or we hit that logic to then attempt to connect. So we press enter, yep, 3 devices. I press C and enter, and it will attempt to connect. Okay, so in here now we could say watcher dot discovered devices dot first or default, and we could say what am I going to say? I'm going to name, yeah. We'll just do if the name contains contour. Nice and simple for now. And the name dot to lower contains contour. That will be the first or default. And if we've got that, then we could just connect. So var contour device equals that. Attempt to find contour device. If contour device equals null, we would console.writeLine no contour device found for connecting. And then because we're in a while loop, if we continue, it will then effectively jump back up to the while and wait again. Otherwise, if we get to here, we have a device and we want to attempt to connect to it. So we will then call watcher dot pair. And also we might want to, again in future, separate this connecting and pairing thing out of a watcher class, because in theory, you want to keep them small, and the this is an Ali advertisement watcher. We'd then probably want a Bluetooth Ali advertisement connector or pairer. Keep the classes small and simple, which is not something I normally do. I don't tend to over granularize my classes, but in this case we will. We'll keep it more, small and easy and bite-sized chunks. It keeps it easier for the community working on as well when we pick up small tasks. So we will separate this pair from this class once we're ready. But again, don't overcomplicate your code until you're happy stuff works. Don't go creating all these classes before you've figured out how stuff works. Get your code working and then improve on it. So it's very important to just stick to coding sometimes and get the job done first. So to pair to the device, we need the contour device ID. And we can just await that. And basically that would throw if it failed. And we're not in an async because we are in here. I think now in C#8, we cannot do an async await void on there, which is good. So now we can try and connect. We know this in theory will throw. So we can do a try, a catch, and then we can just console.log for now, console.writeline rather, failed to pair to contour device, and console.writeline the exception. So now all we should have to do is turn on the contour device, press enter, it will call into this pair, and then it will get it into here, run to here, put a load of breakpoints everywhere, and let's see what happens. It shouldn't connect because we obviously can't connect right now, we haven't entered the pin. Name removal violation. Where's it gone? Now, I could have sworn this was possible in .NET Core. I really could have. So never mind then. For now, considering there's just one, but then again, we'll probably want more. So what shall we do here? This we could do a little task completion source here. Let's just do that. So because we might want more async stuff going forward in this little example, then we might as well turn the main into async. If anybody knows, I can't be bothered to Google, but I was positive you could do this now in .NET Core, async on a main. Apparently not. So I'm going to just do it this way for now. I'm going to make a task completion source. Then I'm just going to do, what am I going to do? I'm going to do wait. I could just do .result to wait for the result that way, but that could crash. Do wait to wait for the task to complete. So we will do that, and then we'll just do a task.run async. Now we have an async call we can use, and we're just going to dump all this into the new asynchronous section of code. And then in here now, when we're done effectively, when we get to the end of here, out of the while loop, all we do is just do task completion source dot try set result true. And that's about it. If this crashed as a whole, you'd be stuck forever with a window open. So you could do a try and finally. And to make sure if it did crash, try set result to false. Not that we're reading the result. So this would be if anything goes wrong, exit out. Finish console app. Unreachable code detected. Well, that's because we, in fact, yeah, we don't actually allow us to exit the program, do we? So there is actually no way to close a program at the minute because the while loop is permanent. We could do a little queue switch. Else if command equals queue say. Task completion, no, just break basically. Break out of the while. Now it's reachable. And now if we press Q, we can exit. We have all that. Let's see if this still works now. So we've got to start listening. Go to devices, press enter, that works. Press Q, it should quit. There we go. So now we have an asynchronous console app at the, as this is at the minute. But I'm sure there's a simpler way to just put async there. But anyway, that's that. So now we can try and pair. So if we then press C and enter without this contour device on, it should tell us that it can't find one. No contour device found. So if I now turn on this contour device, I can't remember how you get into Bluetooth mode now. I think you just hold the button down. There we go. So now it's in Bluetooth mode and it's giving a pin 808357. And what have we broken for? Because we found, oh yeah, we put a breakpoint on there. Well, we put this code in to say that we've managed to find one of the devices. That's cool. That's going to now be annoying because I don't want to keep showing that now we're done. So I'm happy that we've found one. So that can go now. Start again. And it should find it in here. And it's 808357. There we go. So press C and enter. We should now find the device, which we have now. That's good. We add a pairing loop. We try to connect now. And of course, just as I did that, it beeped and disappeared. So let's just do that again. No contour device found. It timed out on the actual device just as I was doing it. So we know we're hitting this now. We know we hit the result. Have we got a contour device yet? Come on, takes forever. There we go. Connect to it, go for it, and we're just getting straight to the end without ever hitting this request. So confirm pin match maybe is not the right one then. Let's try. It could also be, is there any other overloads? Yeah, there's protection level and minimum protection level pairing settings. There's pairing settings and protection level as well, but I'm guessing we've just got this wrong, this type. So let's try pin, display pin. Let's see if that one works. Again, we know we're hitting this now. What should happen, it says it's awaiting to pair. We should be getting inside this pairing request and we're not. So let's just change this pairing type and see. There we go, attempt again. And it's just failing again, so this isn't working great. So it's not display pin, not confirm pin, which are the only two I believe it is. Provide pin. The application must request a pin from the user. The pin will typically be displayed on the target. Oh. So yeah, the application is us. Must request a pin from the user, which is the device. The pin will typically be displayed on the target device. That's the one we want. The comments aren't very clear to me. Let's try that again. I'd say third time lucky, but I think this is the fourth. No, in fact, this is the third. So third time lucky, this is going to work. And then obviously it won't connect because we haven't put the pin in, but I want to see the actual request coming through successfully. So I'm pretty sure that's probably what Windows does. It simply tries all the types of connection, and if it instantly returns like it does and doesn't hit up the request, it tries the next one. That's probably what it does. And we could actually add that to our code. We could have it so it's in like a while loop until it finds it. Oh, just as it finds it, it falls asleep. So yeah, it's gone again there. That's just because the device has fell asleep. This has got a really annoying timeout on this device. By the time it gets discovered, it's just about falling asleep. So I have to keep pressing the button on the device to keep it awake. Yeah, Bluetooth is not fast. This is going to be fun for debugging. You have to just sit and wait for 30 seconds for things to appear. There we go. So that still isn't working. So let's try the overload then. What's protection level? Default encryption or none. Now, I think I've seen that somewhere. Does that come in somewhere? Device dot. Information. I'm sure I've seen protection level somewhere. There, protection level. Gets the protection level used. So maybe we just pass that in as well. This is a big, long line. Let's break this down. So let's give that a go again. And something's got to get this working. If not, we can fall back to the basic pairing first to see if it does actually connect. I don't know if I've connected to this computer or not. I don't think I have. So, I mean, sure, it will connect, I'm sure. That's why that other, that's why this Windows pop-up keeps happening, telling me I can connect. I think it's just getting the right settings. So I've tried every single combination of device pairing kind, with or without protection level. I've tried it inside and outside of the task.run, just in case it needed to be run on the main thread. Nothing at all is getting this to fire into the pairing request. So it might be because the new NuGet package, it might be because the UWP code simply doesn't work. It just isn't up to date enough and doesn't function right. So let's just try instead and get my phone to connect, which is a more established known thing. So I'm going to change it to the pixel on the information we're waiting for. And let's just see if that helps. And I'm guessing the pixel will simply just ask to confirm. So effectively probably none or confirm only maybe. The application must confirm they wish to perform the pairing action. You can present an optional confirmation dialog to the user. So let's just try that. So we have to confirm. We should then get into here and we should be able to just call, I presume, args.accept. So let's see if that works now. And I'll also see if my phone then pops up to, ask me to pair. So connecting to, yeah, my phone's now saying tap to pair with null. So if I click pair, I haven't had any request here though yet. Oop, now it's disappeared. Tap to connect. So I've tapped and it's saying allow access. Click pair, now it's hit. So there's actually a confirmation from my phone first, then we get here. The pairing kind is confirm only, the pin is blank. I accept, and now we get a result. And the result is protection level used encryption, and it was paired. And now, I guess then, if we get information in the received, when we get the information, I'm guessing that, in fact, if we went back to here, as if we were going to repair, we just press C, this now pixel device should say that it's connected. There, connected true. So that's now working and we're connected to the phone and it's paired. So it's working on here, but it's not working on the Contour device. Like my phone's working, but the Contour device one isn't working. Now, the one thing I noticed is I needed to accept on my phone first that I was happy to connect, but there's nothing on the Contour device to accept that initial stage. So maybe the pairing type is something that isn't exposed here, or because that was confirm only. So the application must confirm that, and then we'd show this. I wonder if I tried none, although I've already paired to my phone now. Let's try and forget that device. And then hopefully, if I try none, let's see if that just instantly jumps into the accept without me having to wait for the phone's response to accept, maybe. Let's try and use the phone as a way to see, for one, if we can try multiple ways. So no, the way with none simply doesn't let us connect. It doesn't do anything. It's just like the Contour device. So the confirm only works. Let's try confirm pin match. Let's just see if it basically just has the same behavior as the Contour device if you simply select the wrong pairing kind. So that's, yep, again, nothing's popping up. So it looks like I just happened to pick the right one first time. Try display pin. So it might be that the Bluetooth code's working for confirm only, but some of these others aren't fully functional or something. Don't ever presume it isn't necessarily just the code doesn't work. We could try other devices. Let's try provide pin. But there's nothing else to do. You can basically make that call. And there's not much more you can do other than make the call to pair in this code. So if this doesn't work for the Contour device for now, as much as I really want that, we could try dropping back to just a basic pair and see if that works. It allows, Windows in this case to then pair. So my phone is only pairing with the confirm only. So let's try confirm only once more and see if it still works. See, now this is interesting because now it's stopped working on my phone. My phone's now not popping up with the connect again. So let's just see in here. So it does look like this library is a little bit buggy. Why didn't we even hit the... Oh, breakpoint was just outside. So yeah, not connected. Oh, but it's saying paired as true. It's saying we're already paired, but we're not connected. That's interesting. So maybe we've got to unpair. So let's just add to this pair logic first. If device dot information dot pairing dot paired, then device information dot pairing dot unpair async. Await that. And return. So let's just see if I'm still paired. Oh yeah, so obviously I am paired with the phone, as in we've already pre-approved that we can connect to each other. Now in order to connect, I just have to force a connect. So that's why the pairing is basically finishing. And it also, I didn't check the result to see if it was failing to do that. So now the next time it should ask to connect again. And my phone still is not asking to connect. And of course, device timed out on the Pixel. So this does all seem a little bit kind of buggy. This provided Bluetooth library does seem very hit and miss at the minute with what's going on. Although I'm just using it wrong, one or the other. But it seems fairly simple and obvious. So restart that. See if it discovers. It seems to have this timeout as well where nothing appears now for a while. As if I do know my Bluetooth in my computer though is a little bit up and down. I've got studio lights that interfere with Bluetooth. So every hour or so my Bluetooth mouse dies. So it could just be a bit of interference like that. I can go to Bluetooth and toggle this on and off. Catastrophic failure. That sounds good. So GetGAT services can crash. So we want to wrap that. That is a definite. So we want to wrap that in a try catch because that can fail. Let's turn that back on a minute. So maybe that was what was causing it, that GetGAT services is actually, if the device doesn't support it, then, we can't, it stops everything else working maybe. My Bluetooth's also dead at the minute. Maybe I've got to get through this before my mouse works again. Come on, mouse. Yeah, my Bluetooth on my machine is now dead. Okay, so this is twice now I've ran this code, attempted to connect to the phone at least, to drop back to simplicity like that, and call these custom pairings. Even just connecting and disconnecting from the phone was intermittent. It would connect first, then disconnect. Rather, it would pair first, then I'd say unpair and it would unpair. Then I'd go to pair again and nothing would happen. I'd do that a few times and then my mouse would stop working and the entire computer would hang or the program would crash. So this is definitely very unstable, even just for pairing or unpairing. Whatever it's doing, it's not working well, and it's causing incredible issues with the machine. It's complete and utter hanging and effectively bricking the computer. And now IntelliSense is also broken in Visual Studio. That's probably due to the last crash. So let me just clear this off. Yeah, so I've still not got IntelliSense on here. So that crash really did some damage to, the machine. But basic story here is that I'm not happy using this, at least definitely not this custom pairing. It's causing some major, major issues. Luckily, this is on Windows, and the Windows side is mainly for debugging. So I'm not going to waste the time trying to get this custom pairing working on Windows, because you can just use Windows to pair and it's easier. On the Android side, I'm hoping we have a stable way of doing that, and that you've got some kind of similar ability on the Android and iOS side. So for now, we're going to have to just ditch this, as much as I wanted it to work, because it's literally crashing my computer multiple times. I've had to lose the video footage 3 times in a row and kind of jump in and start again. But basically, I wouldn't recommend anyone run this code, because it's killing my machine. It might just be my Bluetooth, but it's unstable for me to continue trying to do that. So the next thing I'm going to do instead is to simply say, in fact, I know what could have been there. No, so it will be just the unpair. So it's not just that I've called that wrong. So we've got an unpair and a pair, but I'm going to remove the custom side and just fall back to the normal pair. But as you can see, my IntelliSense just doesn't even work. It's lost all IntelliSense now. I just know this is going to be a normal pair that way though. But I would like to get my IntelliSense back, and it's just not happening. So I'll fix that afterwards. So let's now at least see if this works without killing my machine again by just pairing. And it should basically ask the system, the Windows system, to do a pair for us. So it's built, it's set as a startup, and it runs. And then when we press enter in this case, we've got it set to attempt to connect to the Pixel phone still, which is fine. It's finding stuff. And before I do this, I'm just going to save the recording so I don't lose it if it does crash, and I can pick up straight where I left off. So here goes a connection attempt. So it just connects, finishes, and it says failed. So it doesn't even do anything, basically, just saying pair with the system. Oh, and now it's paired on my phone. So even though it's saying failed, my phone did actually connect to the computer, and then it has again there. So now here's another issue, that it's saying it's failed to pair, yet my phone is now paired. So it's not failed. So again, it's clearly not stable at all, really. I don't think that's going to work at all. Let's just try the Contour device out of curiosity, and let's just see if the built-in request to pair actually works on the Contour. Like, even though it's saying it's not connected, let's just see. So I've booted the Contour up, the PC's found it, this has found it, click connect. We've called pair, it's saying failed. Let's just check our Bluetooth devices, and yeah, it's not showing. So really, this is of no use. This pairing just is not working for me. You guys can try it, but it's not working for me. I'm going to try this now and see if just the PC version will connect. And maybe just I have a Bluetooth in my device that's like my computer, that's no good. But even clicking that, you see, isn't working. So I'm getting no thing through the pop-up. So let's go through this Bluetooth, and let's go add device, Bluetooth devices, and let's see if it shows up here, which is basically our kind of list. It knows it's a certain device. We're clicking connecting. Try to connect your device again. So actually, potentially then maybe it's my Bluetooth on this machine and this code's working. Nope, it's now actually connected fine. And now it's showing there as paired. And now it's showing on the computer as paired. So if I now go to here and run our code, now the PC's connected. And once it gets discovered, I presume it'll still be discovered there. Click C. Let's see what the device info is now telling us. Connection status disconnected, even though we're not disconnected, unless that's how it works. It intermittently connects and shows information. Pairing. Can pair. Is paired true. Can pair false. So this should attempt to disconnect, which we don't want to mess with this because, again, I'm not going to use this for now. It's unstable to me. But it's showing that it's not connected as my main thing. So if I do it again, just make sure, see if it's appeared. No, so the connection status is disconnected, but maybe that's normal. But we're paired through the computer. So now we're paired through the computer. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to first buy another Bluetooth device and double check this code. But now we're paired through the computer, we should be good to attempt to read information from it. So let's just put this code into a state where you guys can test it. That is still debug tested, but be aware it might kill your computer. And you let me know what you find from this test. See if your device crashes as well. And I'll also get another Bluetooth device. So let's just go and clean this code up now and get it committed. And for now, we can use Windows to pair, and we can move on to try and read the information from the Contour device. That's the plan of attack. So we attempt to find a Contour device. If we don't find it, let the user know. And you could try this on any device. You've got a Bluetooth device, a mouse, a phone, anything. See if you can connect and see if you get similar experiences to me. If we do get it, we try and connect. And if we fail, log it out. Queue to quit. So that's all there. That's all in and fine. So the program part's fine. This pair now, null guard check. If we are already paired, and in this case, I'm just going to return. I'm not going to disconnect because it should really be in an unpaired state of so. And also in theory, if it's already paired, we do just want to return because then we are successfully paired kind of thing. So that's what we want to return. Try and pair to the device. And considering that worked with, let's change this back to the custom actually. So listen out for pairing request. Device.device information.pairing custom pair request sender args. And in this case, we're just going to accept all of them. And you could put in a pin here if you wanted. Could enter a pin in here to accept. So if any of you get it working and you need a pin, you can try and just enter it here and let me know if that works as well. Accept all attempts. We can also log it so we can go and get some feedback. Accepting pairing request. If it's successful, we log it again. Otherwise, we should log out that pairing failed. And the result.status in that case, get rid of that. Try to pair, log the result. And this is just, again, we shouldn't really be doing console.log in here because we're not in a console app here. We're just in a Windows app. But for quick debugging, what do we do? Shall we leave it in and then remove it afterwards? Because I don't want to get the code too messy, but this is obviously a debugging stage that we kind of want to know about. So I'll leave this in, and what I'll do is to put the, what was the, I'm trying to think where it was again now, the custom to-dos that we did in the last video. To-do, task list, undone. I haven't really got one in there. I was going to put like, an undo kind of thing. So for now, we'll do console.writeLine. That won't cause an issue in non-write lines. And I'll just put a to-do remove once we're happy with what we're going to do. And this is just because I'm not 100% convinced yet on where we're going with this, whether it works for you guys and whether it'll work if I get a new Bluetooth device. So we want to do that to just log out, accept all pairing.custom.pair async. And in here, we want to try the pairing device kind. And in my case here, pin only. For contour, we should try, provide pin rather. To do, try different types to see if any work. So that's that. So this should be a good to do on, this should be a good bit of test code for you guys to run to see if it works for you. I will run it once more, and I'll stop the video and start it up again in case it crashes, but I'm intrigued now just we've got a bit more logging to see if it works out of curiosity one last time. And then there was that one piece of information that crashed here. This crashed, so potentially I'm going to put a to-do here. Figure out way to possibly not call this if we can detect if the device does not support it. But then again, it crashed on the Contour device that we know does support it. So in fact, we do know it supports it. So no, let's just try and catch around here. And to be honest, it's kind of an unexpected exception. So what I'm actually going to do is let that bubble up saying that, because we don't want to, we can't do anything with that. If that crashes, then it's crashed in general and we expect it to bubble up and handle it further up. We could try and catch it, wrap it in a specific, the GAT services call has failed and throw it up, but the call stack handles that anyway. So even though this does crash, we'll put a note. This can throw a system.exception for failures. The call in here doesn't mention it does. So we'll put a note in there for now. But we'll let this bubble up so we can catch it. So I'm fine with that. We've got this in. Let me just stop the recording, run it, and we'll have one last attempt at connecting to the device. So let's run this. It'll start the watching. I'll turn back on the Contour device. That's now turned on. It's discovered it. We attempt to connect. If we hit any breakpoints. Oh, I didn't put my breakpoints on. So now I can only presume we are waiting for a result, because we would have logged it one way or the other. So I'm guessing it hit this point. We would have hit there. We would have seen in here because of the logging. So we should see now either we get to there or we get to there. That's where I'm presuming the code got, because I forgot to put my breakpoints on. And if it's going to do what it did before, we don't normally get it hanging. We didn't have it hanging before. It simply instantly finished and ended, but we should have seen. I presume these console logs will log out, even though we're not in the console application. I presume they'd feed back. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's why. So let's just hit it up once more. We're not hitting anything here, so it's looking just as bad, to be honest. Let's just reset once more. And new device, connecting. We're not even getting breakpoints. This is really messed up the code. Now we've got the exception, which means it's probably going to kill all my machines. So I'm going to close that and hope that my computer doesn't die again for now. So no, this does not work for me at all. So that's where I'm going to leave this code. Clearly it's unstable for me. I'll buy another Bluetooth device. You guys please test this with the thought that it could crash a machine. So, make sure you don't have any unsaved work open. But let me know what results you get from this. And the fallback on the Windows side in this case, if this is how unstable it is, for me is just going to be that we don't support the Windows automatic pairing, and we do it manually. We basically recommend to the user in the UI to connect, which is not ideal. But again, the Windows side isn't as important. It's more for debugging. So I'm not going to spend too much time on a Windows side for something that's meant to speed up development and help debugging, as opposed to slowing it down because we're trying to do something that ultimately we don't need to do here. But when we come to the Android side and the iOS side, I absolutely would like to try and get the Bluetooth automatic connection working. So that's where we'll leave this one. I'll push the commit through Git. I'm not going to bother showing you committing that because you've seen it. It's just wasting time there. So this will be live on the source code. And I think that's it for this one. So next up, I think we want to now try and actually extract and read the information from the device. And hopefully this will now finally be reading the glucose measurements from the device. We can then jump over to Android and look at either doing the UI and implement all the UI. So again, some kind of UI work. Or we can look at doing the Bluetooth work on Android as well, so it can automatically connect. I'll leave that decision up to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. What should we do next? Shall we, after we've read the Bluetooth information from the device, do we then jump onto Android UI to do some UI, or shall we continue with the Bluetooth work and get that all wrapped up on both platforms? As always, feel free to leave questions and comments. And if I've helped you at all in this video, please do consider donating.